All organizations mature and change over time. If we look at a startup and then a large enterprise, we can see just how drastic the changes are. And they are across all facets of organizational practices. This includes management focus, management style, organizational structure, strategy development, etc. However, from a week-to-week, month-to-month, oftentimes even year-to-year basis, it is difficult to notice these changes. More importantly, it can be difficult to determine when we should be making these evolutionary and transformational business changes. For example, when do we need a change in leadership? This is where maturity models come into play. Maturity models are powerful frameworks to gauge the maturity of an organization in a number of disciplines or functions. They help pinpoint the specific areas of improvement in order to reach the next level of maturity. Most maturity models qualitatively assess people, culture, processes, structures, and technology. In capturing the maturity of an organization, there are 5 dimensions to analyze. Age of the organization. Size of the organization. Stages of evolution. Stages of revolution. And growth rate of the industry. The concept of these dimensions is captured in the framework known as Greiner's growth model and is depicted on the PowerPoint slide. Let's dig into each of these dimensions. First, let's evaluate the age of the organization. The most obvious and essential dimension for any maturity model is the age of an organization, represented on the graph as the horizontal axis. Management problems and principles are rooted in specific time periods of the organization. This is illustrated by how the same organizational practices are not maintained throughout a long lifespan. The passage of time also contributes to the institutionalization of managerial attitudes. As these attitudes become rigid and eventually outdated, the behavior of employees becomes more predictable and more difficult to change. The second most obvious dimension is the size of the organization, represented by the vertical axis of the chart. Organizational problems and solutions tend to change significantly as the number of its employees and its sales volume increase. We will see problems of coordination and communication exacerbate, new functions emerge, levels in the management hierarchy multiply, and jobs become more interrelated. The third dimension is stages of evolution. Evolution is a prolonged period of growth where no major upheaval occurs in organization practices. Each evolutionary period is characterized by the dominant management style used to achieve growth. Most growing organizations do not expand for 2 years and then contract for 1. Instead, those that survive a crisis usually enjoy 4 to 8 years of continuous growth without a major economic setback or severe internal disruption. As a company progresses through its stages of growth, each evolutionary period creates its own revolution. This brings us to the fourth dimension, stages of revolution. Revolution is a period of substantial turmoil in the organization's life. Each revolutionary period is characterized by the dominant management problem that must be solved before growth can continue. Traditional management practices that were appropriate for a smaller size and earlier time no longer work and are brought under scrutiny by top-level management and by lower-level managers. During periods of crisis, those organizations unable to abandon past practices and effect major organizational changes are likely either to fold or to level off in their growth rates. The final dimension is the growth rate of the industry. The speed at which an organization experiences phases of evolution and revolution is closely related to the market environment of its industry. For example, a company in a rapidly expanding market will have to add employees quickly. Evolutionary periods tend to be relatively short in fast-growing industries, while longer evolutionary periods occur in mature or slow-growing industries. Also, evolution can be prolonged and revolutions delayed when profits come easily. For example, companies that make serious errors in a prosperous industry can still look good on their financials. As a result, they can buy time before a crisis forces changes in management practices. Can you relate your organization to each of these 5 dimensions of organizational maturity? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. In a follow-up video, we will be diving deeper into the Greiner growth model, where we break down how these 5 dimensions translate to 5 stages of organizational growth. For the Greiner growth model, at the end of each stage, there is a crisis, which provides the impetus for the following stage, assuming the organization successfully survives the crisis. As such, each stage is at once a result of the previous stage and a cause for the next stage. For more information about the Greiner growth model, We have linked to a presentation framework in the description. Furthermore, in the video description below, we have included links to frameworks on all the key management concepts discussed in this video. If you are interested in becoming an expert on strategy, take a look at our offering called the Strategy Development Stream. This is a collection of over 65 best practice frameworks covering all aspects and phases of strategy. It also includes the Greiner growth model. Our frameworks are based on the thought leadership of leading consulting firms, academics, and recognized subject matter experts. Links to our relevant offerings are in the description. For effective strategy development and strategic planning, we must master both strategy and tactics. Our frameworks cover all phases of strategy, from strategy design and formulation to strategy deployment and execution, as well as all levels of strategy, from corporate strategy to business strategy to tactical strategy. Many of these methodologies are authored by global strategy consulting firms and have been successfully implemented at their Fortune 100 client organizations. We have included links to all frameworks referenced in this video in the video description. If you have any questions, please leave them as comments below. If you enjoy these types of videos on business frameworks, methodologies, and management models, then be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Also, check out Flevy.com directly for thousands of best practice business frameworks and tools. We regularly publish videos like this one across a multitude of strategic management topics, from growth strategy to leadership to change management.